Alright, we're back with more Heart of the Woods. I'm still having trouble with my Discord bot, and I'm so pissed. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's like... YouTube API. Anyway, how you doing? I don't remember. Where did we leave off? I know we were at the church, and now we're on the way to see Abigail's friend. I think. Okay. Coffee. Doing good? That's good. Okay. Yeah, so let's recap. So, Maddie... Something happened to Maddie. Oh, Jesus. Not exactly alive, but not exactly dead either. I don't know who was helping Abigail. Okay, let's continue. It's fine, let's keep going. If I just sit and do nothing, I'm sure you feel even worse. If you're sure. We resume our trek. The silence drags on for a while. She did die. I just didn't want to say that. Abigail shoots me glances every now and then, as if I'll disappear as she looks away for too long. In a morbid way, it's kind of funny. I looked at her the same way not too long ago, but she was bright and radiant, and I'm... dead, I guess. It brings a question to the forefront of my mind. Earlier... Abigail stops. I try to avoid eye contact. You said something earlier about Tara. How it wouldn't be possible for Tara to even see me. Correct. She speaks with measured words. Despite how excited she's been, she's visibly holding herself back, like any wrong word will set me off again. It's not too far from the truth. But I was able to see you, even before all this happened, so why couldn't she see me? Abigail lights up again, a look of pride beaming across her face. That was projection. I've had a lot of practice. I'd be happy to teach it to you too, but it took me some time to learn. I see. Ah, jeez. Decades. Abigail laughs nervously, trying to hide her slip. We lapse into an uneasy silence again. I take deep breaths, trying to distract myself from the hundreds of questions weighing on my mind. But my breaths feel empty, the lack of cold wind glaringly absent if I focus on it. There goes Amy. So, I focus on Abigail. She leads the way confidently. A passive smile rests on her face, and she looks more at ease now than I've ever seen anyone be. Every step she takes seems to push us forward, farther than any natural pace. The words she said earlier replay in my head, about how the force will help take us to our destination. We pass through a tree, but when I look back, it's meters away, if not out of sight completely. Magic. Being able to simply pass through any obstacles we encounter makes the walk much faster. Even so, I automatically step over debris or turn my shoulder completely to avoid scraping the trunk of a tree when I can. I feel the heaviness in my chest start to fade as we trek on. Abigail catches my glance and smiles warmly. I smile back now, genuinely now. Did you spend much time in the forest when you were alive? I did. However, I never traveled very far. Why do you ask? I was just thinking about how you know your way around so well. It kind of reminds me of the girl I met here in the village, Morgan. I've had plenty of time to see it all. It's simple too, once you know how to do it. As long as you know where you're going, the force will guide your way there. I'm certain you'll get the hang of it someday. It might take decades. I force an agreeable smile. In spite of everything, talking feels good. Talking about anything, so I try to keep the conversation going. What was Eysenfield like back then?
Much the same as it is today, as far as I can tell. Quiet and isolated. We rarely had any visitors. Even news of the outside world or the rest of the country was slow to arrive. But I longed for it, for the stories that would occasionally make their way to us. Sometimes friends of my father's would head to the city for a few weeks, taking the goods that we had grown and made to trade, and bringing back things we lacked. And they returned with gifts for all the children, my sister and I, or the little boy across the road. Gifts and stories about wondrous devices they'd seen, or about the marvelous people they'd met. Her steps slow and then come to a stop, and her eyes take on a far-off, dreamy look. When I was alive, I always wished to see it for myself someday. Instead, I had to satisfy myself with books and with other people's stories. Her voice trails off, ending with a hum of satisfaction, remembering something but not speaking it. So, were they isolated for a reason? Maybe the same entity that's in Evelyn right now? I wait quietly. It doesn't feel like the kind of moment that I should interrupt. Soon enough, she looks over at me with what I've come to think of as her typical smile. I'm sorry, I hadn't really thought about these things in a while. It's okay. I hope they're not painful memories. She shakes her head. These ones aren't. What about you? There are so many things that I want to know, but I hardly know where to begin asking. Abigail points up to the sky, devoid of any clouds right now. Machines soar overhead day and night, but I've never known what they are. Or watching as Eysenfield becomes more modern, but not understanding. It's kind of weird how ghosts have to be like trapped in one area. If I was a ghost, I would like to travel a lot. I want to understand. She looks at me expectantly, like I could quickly rattle off all the major inventions since her time and how they've changed our lives. From the way the corners of her eyes glimmer with tears, it's clear just how badly she wants to know. It must be horribly frustrating. She mentioned machines overhead. She must mean airplanes and satellites. How unbelievable would it sound to her that enormous metal craft can fly through the sky and carry hundreds of people? Or about cars and how just about everyone owns one. I'd need another 200 years and then some just catch her up on what she's missed. And thinking about that for just a second, I feel like maybe I understand her loneliness a little bit better. Abigail quickly straightens up, maybe realizing that she's being kind of childish. She adjusts her impeccable collar and dodges my eyes. I'm sorry. Again, that can wait. You're fine. I'm sure I'd feel the same way in your position. After we meet your friend, I'll tell you everything you want to know. Or at least everything I can. I'm not exactly the best storyteller. And I'm not very good at explaining why things work, but if that's still enough... I phrase it like a question, even though I already know what her answer will be. Sure enough, she springs towards me, skipping past like a stone. Oh, would you? I'm sure you're wonderful at telling stories. I could tell from the way you read to me back at the church. Do you remember? Like I could forget. That's a day I'll remember for the rest of my life. Is it? Why's that? Your life? Your life? What life? She crowds up close to me now. To be honest, she reminds me of a bit of a film camera. Zooming in, then out, then leaping past to focus on something else. Well, that was the first day that we spent time together, right? And that's when you showed me your name. Abigail goes very still. Several times she looks like she's on the verge of saying something, her mouth fluttering or half gesturing something, but each time she stops. I suppose it was. I just didn't realize it was that significant to you. Of course it was. That day changed everything for me. I bite my tongue from saying more. Things didn't exactly change for the better. Deeper and deeper we go, and the forest gradually grows quieter. The rustling of creatures underfoot get less and less frequent,
and then stop entirely. The birds chatter less, and then not at all. Even the wind settles down. Abigail's the only one who doesn't act any differently. She still hums to herself, or glances over her shoulder to make sure I'm still there. Like I have anywhere else to go. As we get further into the woods, the snow is thinner, and some places are totally without it. There are even a few patches of green, something that I'm pretty sure shouldn't be possible given the weather. Huh. The trees, which have been growing claustrophobically close together, start to spread out a bit more. I gasp when I see what's ahead of us. What? A grove of immense trees, larger than any I've ever seen before, lies before us, like the redwoods back in America. They're so huge as to seem to hold up the sky. Totally bereft of snow, a few defiant branches hold leaves. They cast shadows over Abigail and I and everything around us. How's that possible? An aura of life pervades the area. My skin prickles. The sensation is vivid, running up my arms like a spark. More than the church, where we are now feels like a holy place, something sacred and primal. As we pass by, I have the distinct feeling that I'm being watched from all sides. The back of my neck is slick with sweat, and I brush my forehead as the pressure of being observed starts to hit me harder. What is this place? I don't mean to, but my voice comes out as a whisper. We're at the center of the forest now. These trees are the oldest ones here. They're the ancestors of all the rest. All the life of the forest comes from here. I believe it. There's a quiet vibrance to this place. I walk a little bit slower, feeling as if I don't want to cause a disturbance. I trail behind Abigail, who seems totally indifferent to the atmosphere. It makes sense. She's probably used to it, and this place's luster has worn off for her. I can't help but gape. Without the snow that I've gotten so used to elsewhere, this feels like a wholly different place. Another world altogether. Maybe it is another world. I don't think any human living can get here. Abigail leads me around one of the massive trees, and my jaw drops even further. Oh, it's him. Or it's a thing. There, crouched in a small clearing, is a forest spirit from the other night. The same one that stood in the storm and scared the hell out of Tara and me. Holy shit. Somehow it's much smaller now than it was then, though still several feet taller than me. There's a little nest in it, too. Yet one look into its piercing red eyes, and I know it's the same. Does it even have eyes? Doesn't even have a face. It had been looking away, but turns to face us. Its body creaks and crackles as it moves, like an old door rattling in the wind. My breath catches in my throat as I fight down the instinctive rising terror. It is Kevin. I love him. Pox and scars decorate the bark that forms its skin. Though it has a vaguely human form, its body is clearly wooden. Little trees wind together, interlocking to shape its body. It regards me with a kind of indifferent stare, similar to when we first witnessed it at the church. The impossibly red glow of its eyes is subtle now, and the previously winding and dying trees look more like its body is merely hugging itself. I look to Abigail to see her reaction, but she just watches the two of us with a slight smile, waiting to see what happens. Is this the friend? That's when it hits me. Yeah, this is your friend? That's right. You got a big friend. She acts as plainly as if she just introduced me to a fellow human, not a mystical creature. Abigail leads my side to go to the spirits, and she nuzzles her head against its side like a cat. This spirit is the guardian of the forest. It helped me save you, just like it saved me long ago. Huh. It shifts slightly to accommodate her, standing a little bit taller. It makes no vocalizations, though, nothing close to speech. Kevin is a big boy. How was he so big in the human world? Was that just a projection? I see. I don't really. Visions of its tall and imposing profile against a stormy sky really clash with what's in front of me now. Uh-oh. But still, I know she's telling me the truth. I take a fraction of a step forward, expecting it to bare its teeth or warn me off somehow. It doesn't react though. Does it have a name? If it does, I don't know it. I just think of it as the forest spirit. It's Kevin, clearly. I think back to how Morgan had first described it, as if the forest itself had come alive. I don't think she knew just how right she was. Its namelessness makes it feel even more wild and untamed. I can feel myself being regarded and judged by it, and I'm tempted to turn tail and run. I force myself to look up and to meet its gaze. When it stands still, it's unnervingly silent. It reminds me of a grotesque scarecrow in a sense. From my peripheral vision, I can see Abigail look between the spirit and I, probably wondering if she should say something more, or knowing her, wondering what to say. I preempt her. I've come to say thank you for intervening and for saving me. Abigail told me that you helped. I don't really know how I could ever repay you. I owe you my life, or, well, whatever's left of it. I'm not sure that what I could even offer a supernatural tree spirit to begin with. I don't know, water? Its eyes watch me, impassive. I swallowed the lump in my throat and keep talking. I don't know what happens now either. I'm still getting used to all of this, but again, thank you. Then, not knowing what else to do, I bow stiffly and step backwards. Still, it doesn't react. Where'd the bird go? What? Oh shit. The whole thing is awkward and uncomfortable, but as with everything else, I'm at a loss. I can't have a conversation with the thing, and the details of what exactly it did are sparse. It feels like a waste to have come all this way for just a few sentences, but I'm not sure it even understood those. It occurs to me that I have no idea how much the forest spirit knows, or even cares about the affairs of humans. I guess it must care at least a little since I'm here. The spirit turns its head to face Abigail, who smiles and pats its side. She says something to it, but I'm too far away to hear what. Then, as wordless as ever, the spirit rises and lumbers off into the forest without a second acknowledgement. Abigail watches it go. Then she turns and faces me with a bright smile. So, what do you think? She has all the pride of a child with a new toy. I stare at this after the spirit, still barely visible between the trees. I don't really know what I think. I'm part grateful, part terrified, part shocked. When I saw it before, I thought it had to be a monster or something. It just seemed so ferocious and huge that I assumed it was evil. So seeing it like that is weird. It's certainly intimidating at first. When we met, I was also rather fearful, but I quickly realized how kind and gentle it was, at least towards me. I'm still brimming with curiosity over Abigail's own history, but she's made it clear that she doesn't want to tell me yet, so I won't pester her about it. Why wasn't it enormous this time? It can make itself larger or smaller at will. The night you saw it, it must have had a reason. And you're able to talk to it and understand it? Not quite. I speak to it and it understands me, but it doesn't have any words or language. Some of its mannerisms I've picked up over time.
We've had quite a long time to get to know each other after all.
Right.
Abigail walks over and links her arm around mine. I startle at the touch, but more so how casual she is about it. Cute. Ready to go back to the church? Unless you'd rather stay here in the forest. I imagined you'd be more comfortable with walls and a roof around you for now, though.
Yeah, I would be. Let's go back.
Arm in arm, she leads the way back. Okay, now it's Morgan's point of view. So, what is that thing that Evelyn is? Is it like an enemy of the forest spirit? Maybe? God damn it! We're in Evelyn's private drawing room. Tara's kneeling in front of the back door, wiggling a paperclip around in the lock. It looks like she's never done this before. Tara, let's go. This is a bad idea. I'm not leaving till I get in there. Or get in here. She knows something about Maddie. I know she does. I look around the room. It's been in here plenty of times, but never into the connecting study. Evelyn hasn't so much as opened the door to it with me in the room. I'm starting to regret telling Tara about it, though. If we don't get out of here... I'm not disagreeing, but this isn't going to help. We need to... Shit! She hisses and pulls her hand away. Her fingers are brilliant red and she holds them to her mouth. Are you okay? I think it burned me. What the hell? Screw this. Let's just break the door down. She takes a step back from it. It looks like she's ready to kick it. I put my hand on her shoulder. I really can't think of a worse idea right now. She'll just end up hurting herself. Listen to me. We have to get out of here. Trust me. She doesn't move to kick the door, but she also doesn't have... She also doesn't seem to have heard what I just said. If she heard Mads, I'll kill her. Tara vibrates in my hands. In this state, there's no telling what she'd do if I weren't here to stop her. She'd probably be lighting a fire in the corner of the room or something by now. I can't let her get hurt anymore, though. I can't let anyone else get hurt. Listen, Tara. I've tried to force it open before. I think she has some kind of ward on it. No matter what we do, I don't think we're getting in there. I'm not sure what Tara hopes to find in there anyway. Even if it is locked, I doubt Evelyn is arrogant enough to leave any real clues lying around in there. There has to be some way in. There has to. We'll get at the office, and we'll find out where she took Mads. I don't care how much weird magic bullshit Evelyn's got. We're gonna rescue Mads. She still hasn't given up hope that Maddie's alive. I wish I could share her optimism. Oh no. So basically at this point, Morgan probably knows that, or has a good hunch that Maddie's already dead. All I can feel is guilt. All of this was my fault. If I'd never asked them to come here, no one else would have been hurt. Tara, we need to go. Whatever burned you probably alerted Evelyn. She could be on her way right now. Ooh. No, we can't give up now. Mads needs us. Tara, we need to consider the possibility that... Tara wields towards me and grits her teeth. I can't tell if any of the anger she's feeling now is for me. If it is, I can't blame her. She hasn't been willing to face the truth of the situation, but she has to face it eventually. Then what, Morgan? That she just killed my friend? Do you seriously think she'd do that to Mads just for looking around the woods? Yes, I do. My voice is colder than I mean it to be. I instantly wish that I could take it back, but she still doesn't understand. I get that she doesn't want to face the idea of Maddie being dead. But she can't ignore the danger we're in. The look in Tara's eyes, however, says this isn't helping right now. I'm sorry. You're right. We don't know for sure yet, but we can talk about this later. Right now, we really need to...
Oh, God.
Behind me, the door to the room slowly creaks open. My heart stops. I can't move. I can't turn around. I already know what I'm going to see. God damn it. Good morning, Morgan. Tara. Instantly, I dash between Evelyn and Tara. Nothing good can come from these two being in the same room together. I have to keep them apart. Evelyn just laughs. Just the sound of her voice makes me want to run, but I can't. You both seem so on edge. I'm sorry you don't seem to find my drawing room as relaxing as I do. Maybe it's time for some redecorating. How would you feel about a more earthly palette? She crosses the room to the window and leisurely picks up one of the curtains, pretending to examine it. I can feel Tara behind me seething and getting angrier by the second. No opinions. You come here uninvited and you think you could at least pretend to be polite. Now she glares at me. I can feel the temperature in the room drop instantly. I used to think it was something that was just in my head. Holy shit, is the room actually getting colder? Like, it's getting bluer. I've changed my mind about it recently. It really is getting colder. You never could, though, could you? You never could play along. Always so obstinate. You have to fight every step of the way. Jinx, how you doing, buddy? How you doing today? Glad you could stop by. We are in deep shit here. Just like when you were young, always cutting your own hair short. Because nothing was ever good enough for you. The clothes I bought, the food I made, and you had to control just one thing. Kinda still have food poisoning? Oh no. But it's not as bad as before. Okay, well, I'm not sure what to do in the case of food poisoning, but yeah, get some rest. A rush of heat and cold crawl on the nape of my neck. A rush of shame. Evelyn's mouth twists slightly, just enough into a smile, and she breathes a freezing laugh of pride. When was it you realized you couldn't even hold scissors anymore, and you ran around town begging someone to cut your hair? What? She can do that? No wonder no one else ever wanted to be around you. I imagine that's why you had to look all the way overseas to make a friend. She shoots a glance at Tara, baring her fangs in a grin. I saw her fangs, but I didn't realize they were fangs. I thought she had, like, pointy teeth. Jesus, she's not even trying to hide what she is. And, well, look what happened to them. That's too much for Tara. She's been quiet this whole time, maybe from the same fear that gripped me. But now, she steps forward. I hold out my arm to prevent her from getting too close. What the hell did you do with Maddie? Evelyn turns back around to the window, barely acknowledging Tara at all, and stares out it absentmindedly. You know, the forest is a very dangerous place. Every year, it seemed there would be a new death. Someone would go missing in the winter. We wouldn't find them until the spring thaw. She turns around. The look on her face is so placid and empty. I've never seen anyone so completely devoid of empathy. That's why they're off limits now. That's why we have the curfew. There hasn't been a death like that in almost 10 years. Something we are very proud of. She turns back to Tara again and takes a step forward. Somehow the room seems to get even colder as she does. That is, until your friend,
It's honestly frustrating that she would ruin our record so selfishly. I wonder if she had any idea of the headache she was going to cause me. She shakes her head. She's smiling again. Fuck. I hate this lady. This thing. Enough of the bullshit. Mads wouldn't go out there and get herself lost. She wouldn't. She's way too cautious for that. You did something to her, and you're gonna tell me, or I swear to God. Evelyn looks up. Her smile is gone, and her eyes are as sharp as her fangs. Tara goes silent the moment those eyes are on her. Wait, Coffee, thanks for subscribing, hey. I'm shivering now. I pull my arms close to my body. The air seems to crackle with ice. I try to take a step backwards, but Tara won't budge. I'm not sure if it's out of anger or fear. Actually, let me move this over here, just so it's out of the way. Why is it locked? Oh my gosh, I realized the whole damn screen isn't even centered. Or... there you go. That's better. I've been so patient with you, Morgan. Endlessly patient with you and your friends. A mother's patience never wears thin. But then I never was much of a mother, was I? No, don't. What? I reach out my hand, but it's too late. Behind me, Tara rises slowly in the air. What? Morgan, help! What's happening? Her eyes are wide with terror. Tears well up in my eyes. I have to do something. Please, don't. You don't have to. Evelyn's mouth shifts slightly to one side. She looks so disinterested. She doesn't even take pleasure in it. She barely notices us and what we feel. How many years did I give you the carrot, Morgan? How many? Eventually, you'll have to learn. The carrot? The one in the antique shop? What? And just like that, Tara shoots backwards and slams into the wall so hard the whole room shakes. Tara! She crumples to the ground in a heap. She's not moving. Evelyn doesn't move as I run to Tara and lean down to look at her. She's awake, still twitching. Thank God. Tara, don't move. Just stay still. You'll be okay. Well then, please make sure you put everything back where you found it. The maids have enough work as it is. My heart starts beating faster. The heat on the nape of my neck spreads down my back. But instead of the hollow pit in my stomach that's supposed to follow, I feel my shoulders stiffen. My breathing gets slower, more controlled. The edges of my vision start going dark. I feel myself biting down on my own lip. Does she have her own powers? What is this? I look down and I see my fists are clenched so tightly. My knuckles have gone white. For the first time, I don't feel any fear, just hatred. With that, she turns away. The room instantly returns to its normal temperature, but I'm still freezing. Her heels click on the hardwood and get quieter as she leaves. She stops at the door. Have a lovely day, girls. Evelyn disappears and the door slams behind her. I still can't move. It isn't until Tara lets out a loud groan that I snap back to my senses. Are you okay? Did she break anything? I don't think so. Can you stand? She makes it halfway up before stumbling. I grab her and throw her arm around my shoulder. She winces and lets out a tiny whimper. Let's get back to the house.
I've got a first aid kit there. As long as I get to lay down, we can go wherever you want. Of course, you can use my bed. Come on. She takes a few shaky steps before leaning against me. It's a start. I think you're gonna have to take the lead on this one. God damn. How powerful is this lady? Tara does her best to help me get her up the stairs, but whether it's due to injury or shock, she's barely able to stay standing while leaning on me. Climbing a staircase is difficult, but at the moment there isn't really anywhere else I can take her. Ooh. When I open the door to my room, Geladora is in the center of the bed, cleaning her paws contemplatively. She doesn't look up at us. Come on, let's get you on the bed. Alright, let me take a real quick break. Make sure I mark that I've turned on my break screen first, though. I will be right back. Okay. Yeah, that is so fucked up. Like, Evelyn has so much power. She could kill Tara in an instant. I don't know why she's not doing it. Probably because people would miss her a lot. It would probably attract attention, but still. She could do that. And also, like, she's been controlling Morgan's life since childhood. Like, I mean, I guess I understand why Morgan was so desperate to get help then. Or like, man. Actually, that explains a lot. Explains a lot. Jeez. I half expect Tara to give some kind of knowing look as she stumbles over to the bed, but she doesn't. She just nods weakly. Oh god. Tara collapses face first over the sides of the bed. Geladora doesn't even budge as it shakes with the weight. She acts like she doesn't even notice. Geladora, move please. No response. She just continues slowly raking her tongue over her paws. Ever since Tara and Maddie got here, she's been particularly obstinate. I wish I knew why. Sounds like a normal cat to me. It's hard not to be frustrated with her, especially with everything that's happened today. But I do my best to just gently force her to move, like climbing onto the bed next to Tara. Geladora finally looks at me, paw held indignantly in the air. She talks. She talks. There's plenty of room on the floor. Tara shoots back up, yelping and almost knocking me over. She doesn't seem to notice, as she just stares down at Geladora with wide eyes. Did your cat just talk? Geladora cranes her neck around to look at Tara, and then speaks again. No. Her voice is languid and drips out of her mouth like syrup. Tara's eyes dart back from the cat to me, to the cat again, hoping for some kind of concrete response. Yeah, I told you. So sassy. The cat is so sassy. Oh fuck, I missed that. Her face lights up in newfound energy. The lines of pain that had creased it disappear in an instant. I knew it! I knew I could trust you. Sure, it was weird that she didn't actually talk, but I get it. Shy around strangers, that's valid, and also big mood. But I knew it! I knew you weren't lying. I smile. After everything we've been through together, a part of me feels warm when she says that. Big mood. My chest glows with a warmth I've only felt around Tara. After everything, it should be obvious that she believes me. But Tara's sincerity catches me by surprise every time. Geladora doesn't seem to find it as endearing. She rises methodically, then pauses towards the foot of the bed. I'm worried about her. Every month she's gotten more and more cat-like, but this was the first time that she didn't speak at all. And we're so close to the full moon now, she's not gonna get much stronger than this. Full moon. I can't help but wonder how much time she has left. Geladora, how are you feeling? She looks up at me with her bright blue eyes, alive with magic and intelligence. I feel hungry. Did you bring me food, Morgan? I don't think you did. She stares at me. The expression on her cat face is unreadable. I didn't. I'm sorry, Geladora. It's been a difficult morning. You don't have anything, do you? I think I have a melted chocolate bar in my pocket, but can magical talking cats eat chocolate? Geladora regards Tara silently, her white tail swishing slowly across the bed sheets. Then, without saying anything or giving any other indication of her intentions, she turns and hops onto the windowsill. Geladora, wait. She turns her head back to me and gazes into my eyes. I feel like I'm being measured. I always feel that way around her. No. You wait. She turns away and sways her tail lazily. I will be back. You see that little blep? Oh, she's so cute. Also very sassy. I have a theory, maybe she's turning back into a cat. What? Geladora? Maybe. Maybe it's like Evelyn's powers or something. And with that, she leaps from the window to the branches of the nearby tree. She slips through them like a rush of white water until she's gone from sight. Tara and I sit there quietly for a few minutes before she finally speaks. Your cat is weird. Yeah, a little. Geladora is gone for hours. I need to talk to her. Things have changed so much today. I think she'll know what to do. I hope she will. In the meantime, I tend to Tara. She protests at first, saying she's fine. I don't doubt she thinks that, but I want to confirm that for myself. Like, maybe she was human once? Oh, like Luna, Sailor Moon. Eventually, I'm able to convince her that, to let me look. Excuse me. Her back is essentially one giant bruise, but that's it. That's it. It doesn't look like anything was broken, at least. Oh. It's a relief, but maybe we were just lucky.
Maybe next time Evelyn will do worse. There's no telling what she's capable of. And I can't let anyone else get hurt. So, what's the deal with Gelato? I open my mouth to speak, but before I can, Tara cuts me off. I mean, I know she can talk, but please don't wait, what? Huh? Please don't say she can talk. Oh. You're gonna say that she can talk, and I'm just seriously asking you, don't. I want to know what her deal is. Promise me we won't say she can talk. I promise I won't say she can talk. Tara nods. Her name is Geladora. Tara stares at me for a second before we both laugh. Okay, her name is Geladora. But why can she talk? I've met a lot of weird cats, but none of them can actually talk. Well, it's because she's not really a cat. Of course. Then she scribbles on her. Do I have any pens here? Do a little ASMR. Of course. Tara tries her best to sound like she's completely understood the situation now, but it's obvious she hasn't. I take a deep breath. Geladora isn't a cat. She's a fairy. Oh, a fairy. I don't know a lot more than that. I know Evelyn cursed her to be in that form. Her memories are hazy though, and it's only been getting worse. Ah, Coffee, you're pretty close. She wasn't always like this. She's been around as long as I can remember. She only started talking to me when I was 12, but even back then, she's forgetting she was ever a fairy. I'm worried that soon she's not going to be anything other than a house cat. Tara nods, seemingly taking everything in, and then she's quiet a moment, thinking about it. She doesn't really seem that helpful. I nod my head sadly. She used to be. I'd have never known anything about what Evelyn was without her. I bite my lip. Wait, what? I'd never known anything about what Evelyn was without her. Oh. Ooh. So Geladora told Morgan what Evelyn was, and I guess what her true nature is. I bite my lip. For a long time, she was my only friend. She was the only one I could really trust. I still believe in her. I still believe she can help. I look away. Even if I'm telling her my story, there's still so much I'm not ready to share about growing up here. I don't know if I'll ever be ready. I know it sounds like I was just a little lonely kid looking for a friend, but I promise she has the knowledge we need in there somewhere. Tara starts to lean towards me, while letting out a grunt of pain as she moves. I go to push her back down into the bed, but before I can do that, her arms wrap around me. She gives me a gentle squeeze, and I lean into her response. I want to hug her too, but I know that wouldn't be doing her back any favors. Aww. So I sit there and let her hold me. Try to take refuge in it. Try to remember that I'm not alone. You don't have to make excuses. I believe you. And I'm sorry you had to grow up like that. It's their loss that they didn't stick around to see how cool you turned out to be. She pulls back and grins at me. That same goofy grin I've seen hundreds of times before. But it's so much better in person than it was on a screen. And it's exactly what I need right now. Tara and I wait out the day watching dumb videos on the internet. trying to take our minds off things, if only for a moment. They take longer to buffer than to watch. It's dark by the time Geladora slips back through the window. She's quiet, but even if I hadn't seen her, I'd still know she was there. Something about the air in the room changes when she enters it, the same as Evelyn. Geladora thinks that they were close once. She doesn't know how, but I believe her. Hello, Geladora. Meowdy. How was your hunting? She looks at me, and if ever a cat could give a self-satisfied grin, I swear she would right now. Her voice seems to luxuriate in it. It was good, Morgan. Much better than your hunt this morning. What? She jumps into my lap and rubs her head against my hand. How does she know about that? I know much about Evelyn. Her voice is deep as stone and rumbles in her throat with a purr. She stops rubbing on my head for a moment and looks up at me. And Evelyn knows everything about you. What did you think would happen, cursed child? I hate when she calls me that. I spent years dealing with it looming over me, and the last thing I want is her rubbing it in. Cursed child. Even more, I hate that she's right. I should have known that this would happen. I should have kept Tara from going to the office. But I never imagined Evelyn was that strong, and Tara's paying the price for my failure. Evelyn is as good as a hunter as any cat. She'll never let her prized vessel out of her sight. She's watching you even now, Morgan. And when the moon is full, she will finally strike. And then, still on my lap, she curls up and closes her eyes. I'm not going to get any more out of her tonight. Is Evelyn like a fairy? Maybe. That would explain why Geladora and her were close. Tara doesn't say anything for a while. She looks contemplative, even. But when she does speak, she asks the question I knew she would. Why'd she call you cursed? I wish I could lie. It may be the first time I've ever wanted to lie to someone other than Evelyn, but I can't. Tara deserves to know what she's involved in. Because I am. Tara just stares at me, half in shock. Excuse me. She quietly waits for me to continue. I hesitate a moment before continuing, regardless. Evelyn is not my real mother. My real mother died before I was born, and whatever Evelyn is, she took her body. She's done it to our family for years. Geladora and I pieced it together from town records and scraps of my mother's diary. Every couple decades, she has to change hosts, and I look into Tara's eyes. This is the first time I've ever told all of this to anyone. And you're next. Tara says the words I don't want to. I nod. Evelyn's going to make her move on the night of the full moon. That's what Geladora says. I close my eyes. I know she's right, but I don't want to admit it, even to myself. The full moon is so close. And then I feel a hand grip tight on my own. I open my eyes and I see Tara staring back into them. Wow, that's a lot. And it's really hard for me to know what to say here, but thank you for telling me. We're gonna stop Evelyn, and if it has to be before the moon is full, for whatever reason, then we'll do that. And we'll save Mads. We'll stop her, I swear. She's smiling so big and so broad, and she sounds so damn confident I want to believe her. More than anything, I hope she's right. For the first time in my life, I want to trust someone. Now we're back to Maddie. Oh, that's fucked. How much time do they even have left? I'm starting to get used to it. Just a little bit. I've done my best to keep a regular human schedule as much as I can, going to bed at night, waking up in the morning, even if they're unnecessary. They help me feel a little bit more like myself, like not quite everything has changed. Hunger or not, I'd kill for a cheeseburger or something though. I don't know what I'd do without Abigail. She's never far from my side, and she's my anchor through all this, endlessly supportive and positive. I know that she views my circumstances, well, differently than I do. That she enjoys having me here. But I can't fault her for that. I still can't fathom the depth of loneliness she's felt, with nothing but a silent tree spirit for company. The days that we spent together have been pleasant enough, but I still don't want to accept this fate. I can't. I rise from my spot on the stone floor. Sunlight pours through the stained glass window of the church, and has been for some time now. There hasn't been much snow since the storm that I was caught in. All of my time has been spent here in the church, or exploring the woods with Abigail. I try to see the charm in some of the places she's taken me, but they all feel the same. Trees and rocks and snow in varying combinations. The forest may be huge, but it's stifling in how repetitive it all feels. I keep hoping that Tara and Morgan might come by, so I could at least see them, even if they can't see me. So far, they haven't. I look around the church, expecting to see Abigail waiting like usual, but she's nowhere to be found. I can hear her, though, from just outside the church, singing. I move through the doors to watch. She's like floating, flying. Just a few feet away, she stands with her back to the church and me. Her arms outstretched, but not fully. She sways softly as she sings. And God, how she sings. Her voice has a lilting cadence, and not even the wind dares interrupt or quiet her. It's unreasonably beautiful. The kind of voice that if you heard it on the radio, you'd have to pull out your phone to see who you're listening to. It's like one of those Scandinavian cow-herding songs. And to think, I get my own private concert like this. She faces the sky, and I don't need to be able to see her face to visualize a smile that I can hear in her voice. The song she's singing is wordless, but still beautiful. I wonder if it's something she came up with herself. I imagine her spending years playing with the melody, or maybe she's just making it up as she goes along. I notice then that I'm not the only one watching it. A small flock of half a dozen or so birds crowd around her feet, watching in rapt attention. They hop around, occasionally cheeping to join in. Holy shit, she's a Disney princess. She waves a hand and they flutter about, never perching on her, but never leaving either. From the trees, it just barely peeking out, a young deer observes me as well. It isn't close enough for her to touch, but close enough for me to count the spots on its belly. It's just like something out of a cartoon, where she's the fairy tale princess who's friends with the wildlife. I wonder if it's because of her in particular, or if the animals don't feel threatened just because we're spirits, not flesh and blood. That might be it. All too soon it's over. Her voice fades away without wobbling, and the birds instantly disperse. The deer bounds back into the woods, invisible. She turns to face me. Good morning, Madison. I'm blushing and I don't know why. Good morning. That was amazing. Thank you. I hope I didn't wake or disturb you. Not at all.
Besides, if I'd known, I'd gotten up early just to hear more. Oh, you're flattering me. Let me save, actually. No way, not at all. I mean it, you have a beautiful voice. Now she's blushing too. Thank you. How did you learn to do that without scaring away the animals? It wasn't really a matter of learning, it just happened naturally over time. I sing for myself first and foremost. I think eventually they realized that I wasn't a threat. Seems like they were enjoying the show too. It's quite the compliment if even the birds like my song. There was a deer too. You might not have seen him though. He was kind of hiding in the bushes. Oh, was he? I'll have to introduce you next time. He's quite friendly too. Really? You know him? Most likely. I suppose it could have been a new deer. I'd have to see him to know for sure. Nowadays, there are these things called petting zoos, where you can pay money to walk around and pet tame animals like deer and sheep and pigs. I've never heard of them just making friends with people, though. That sounds marvelous. Have you ever been to one? Not since I was a lot younger. They're mostly for kids. Adults in the modern world sound awfully boring in that case. Abigail walks to my side, standing close like she always does. I wonder if it's intentional. Together, we face the forest. She touches my arm so lightly that I wonder if that's intentional too. If you're feeling up for it, there's some place I'd like to show you here in the forest. It's one of my favorite spots. Of course, lead on. I'd love to see anything that you think is special. Besides, it's not like I have anywhere else to be. I refrain from saying that out loud. I am genuinely interested in what she wants to show me. I like spending time with Abigail. But I hope that she'll be willing to answer some more of my questions now too. Having fun together is nice, but it feels like a distraction from the matter at hand. Speaking of hands, Abigail takes mine ever so gently. Let's go then. We take off at a brisk pace, but the distance falls away faster than normal. I'm borne along by her boundless enthusiasm and surely more than a little magic. Trees fly by at a blur, impossibly fast. It's like being on the train again. Like snowflakes, they melt into my vision faster than I can really notice. The speed is some gift of the forest, I imagine. A consolation for what it's done to me. Our footsteps are formless against the snow. We're walking in the air. It's the same as when I first met Abigail. It feels like an eternity ago. For at least a couple hours more, I try to push those thoughts away so I can enjoy whatever it is she wants to show me. I want to enjoy this. For my own sake. For her sake too. I have trouble thinking of anything other than her. The gentleness of her grip, the light and joyful way she moves across the ground, the certainty of which she pulls me forward. Every so often she turns around to make sure I'm still there, though I'm sure she's very aware of our interlocked fingers. I know that I am. Guess I can add that to the ever-growing list of feelings to sort through. Oh no. The forest shifts even faster than it did a few days ago, when we went to visit the spirit. It changes too fast for me to keep track of any reference points. If I try to focus on one spot for too long, I get a little dizzy. So I stop focusing on that and just go with the flow. Eventually, Abigail slows our pace, and the passing of the forest reverts to a normal rate as well. At first glance, it seems like any other part we visited, but when I look closer, I start to notice small differences. Some trees are devoid of snow, with piles of it beneath them as if someone brushed them clean. Others are decorated with strange, paint-like streaks of color,
mostly blue, but some are white. On other trees, icicles dangle from the branches and give off a strange glow. I approach to examine one. The glow dims. What? Fairies? No way. Abigail pays it no mind. This must not be strange to her either. I hurry to catch up, though she's only gotten a few steps away. We're almost there. It's just up ahead. Through the trees, I can already see where she's taking me. Splashes of brilliant pink peek out just ahead, mostly obscured by the barren brown trees. I don't even have time to be curious about what they are before we arrive. What? A splendid grove of colorful trees spreads out before us, surrounding a small pond that must be enchanted. That's beautiful. The leaves that hang from the trees are salmon pink, flecked with flickering lights. Lavender bushes crowd their bases, sparkling with dew or magic. This is literally an enchanted forest. While snow covers the ground all the way up to the shores of the pond, the trees themselves are devoid of it, much like the forest spirit's home. I wonder if the two are related somehow. Even more remarkable, though, is that the pond itself is also unfrozen. Its glassy surface is smooth, and save for the occasional ripple that spreads across. It's small enough that I can see clear across to the other side. It makes this place feel even more secret and hidden. You could wander the forest for years and never stumble across it. I move slowly towards the water. This place deserves calmness. Oh, Abigail, it's beautiful. The water laps at my feet, though remains undisturbed. Like a vampire, I have no reflection, a fact that I pointedly tried to ignore. Oh, geez. Where are we? What makes this place so special? This is one of my favorite places. Isn't it lovely? As for what makes it special. Her eyes twinkle conspiratorially. Fairies. Yeah, I knew it. There's a beat of silence. I feel like I should be surprised at her answer, but I'm not. After everything I've seen, fairies are downright mundane. I remember her mentioning them before too. I look around, wondering if I've missed them hiding somewhere, but I don't see anything. Abigail laughs. Just as decorators. They aren't around right now. They much prefer the nighttime. They're far more active in the moonlight. You can see traces of them, though. As an example, she cups one of the icicle-like baubles that hang from the trees. Inside, a faint light beats like a heart, dim enough to be invisible in the daytime. I'm sure they're around watching, but I've only met them once myself. It may be years before you do. There it is again. The promise of eternity spent like this. I bite my lip. I think that's okay with me. I've had enough magic for 1 week. Yes, understandable. She walks back to the shore of the pond and sits down. I take a seat beside her. Really though, thank you for bringing me here. It's nice. I'm glad. I wanted to show you that not everything about it is bad. That life does have its own little moments of niceness. I look at her, but she's staring pointedly away, towards the pond. Her cheeks redden a little bit. Unlife is a good word for it. Do you think so? I worried before you woke up that I would have forgotten how to speak, or forgotten words. I talked to myself to keep in practice, waiting for a day when I would meet someone again. That's so sad. That's also why I sing, so that I don't forget how much I enjoy it, even if nobody listens. I know that it's silly, but sometimes a bit of silliness can be what helps me keep going. I don't think it's silly at all. Besides, if I could sing like you, I'm sure I'd do it all the time too. I could teach you if you'd like. Oh no, you don't know what you're getting into. I'm pretty sure I'm unteachable when it comes to singing. You could have birds flying miles away instead of coming to listen. She laughs. Come now, I'm sure it can't be that bad. I knew nothing of singing when I first started. I simply practice and practice. Everything gets easier with practice and time. My singing voice has gotta be the one exception. My middle school choir teacher even told me there was no way I would ever be a singer. It was one of the most traumatic days of my 12 short years back then. In all of existence? Out of everything. In that case, I suppose I must hear it just to know. You can't promise something like that and then not demonstrate. Oh my god, that's awful. No way. Not happening. What if we sang a duet? Definitely not. Oh, you're no fun. She playfully swipes at my shoulder. So cute. Are there any instruments that you do enjoy? Any that I've heard of, that is. Piano. I've taken lessons since I was a little girl. Ooh, wonderful. Yeah, I miss it. I flex my fingers, staring down at them, remembering the feeling of keys. Even before coming out here, it's been a while since I played. I don't think I ever consciously stopped. It just happened over time. Most of the time, the only music I'd ever had the opportunity to listen to was prayers, or the occasional traveling performer. Sometimes I'd convince Mr. Braun, who played the organ, to show me some of the pieces he'd learned in the city. She says this with a sly smile, sharing some private joke with me. Do you remember any of the names of the pieces? I wonder if I've heard of them. Oh, yes, there was, She bites her nail, thinking about it. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. She squirms, wiggling it around like she's hoping the memory will fall into place. Finally, she shakes her head. Maybe not. It seems I've forgotten. Do you think there's a chance, though? Are you very familiar with songs from, well, my time? Some of them, yeah. A lot of the most famous and respected composers come from those days. From this part of the world, too. Abigail sighs wistfully and looks off into the distance. I'm glad to hear that. They must be magnificent to be remembered so many years later. How nice that must be, to leave behind a legacy, to be missed. To be missed. The way she says it is wistful, a dreamy sigh, like something that she longs for. I glance over, half expecting her to be crying, but her face is steady and calm. She catches me looking and smiles. I'm sorry, I'm just feeling a little nostalgic. You don't need to apologize. I like hearing what's on your mind. I'm glad. It would be rather unfortunate if, after everything, we didn't get along. That'd be pretty awkward. We both laugh at the idea. I do have another question, though. A personal one. I know you said I could ask you anything, but... I meant it. Please go ahead. Well, before, you said that you never even tried to go back. Escape, whatever the right word for it would be. Why is it that? Doesn't it bother you being stuck like this? Let me see if I can... sorry. Abigail scratches at the soft dirt beneath us. Of course, her fingers move impotently through it, changing nothing. Let me see if I can... Accessibility... Can I do a large font? Ooh, I hope that didn't... Okay, game is fine. That crashed. I would say that's large, maybe. If you don't want to answer, that's okay. I don't mind. I'm just thinking of what to say.
So, I suppose that you've been thinking about it a lot, right? How to go back. I nod. Almost constantly. I don't know if it's possible or anything, but don't get me wrong, I'm beyond grateful that you saved me at all, but it feels like we're so close to being alive, but not. Everything's changed, but at the same time, it's like nothing has. I don't feel much different, but everything's different. I have a whole life out there, or at least I did. I can't just forget about it, or move on, or give up, or something. I understand. She's quiet, and I wonder if I went too far. If I asked something that I shouldn't have. In a lot of ways, it's one of the most intimate and personal questions I could possibly ask. Then she shifts around to face me better. I didn't have much time left once I moved on. My family and those I care about, I had no desire to return to them. And then time started to pass. At first the days felt slow, tortuously slow. I did nothing but sit around and mope, never straying far from the forest spirit who had saved me. But then I started to explore more, to get to know the forest, find moments of happiness. It was still terribly lonely, of course. It has been until you got here. But I can honestly say that I didn't hate it. I sang, I watched, I found my own joy where I could. Eventually, time left me behind. The people I had now known grew old and died. I'm sure many forgot about me long before I forgot about them. That sounds awful. At some point, there was nothing for me to want to go back to. The rest of the world outside this forest is just a maze that I don't know how to navigate. Here in the forest, I know nearly all there is to know. There's no grief, or loss, or pain. There's just peace. Before I can respond, she stands up, brushing away some imaginary dirt from her gown. Would you feel up for another walk through the woods? Perhaps this time I can show you where the wisest, most handsome-looking owl nests. It's been so long since I've said hello to him. I would love that. She offers me a hand. I take it and the obvious subject change. And she helps me to my feet. Sure, let's go. With a smile, she leads me back towards the trees. So many of the conversations that I have with Abigail are painful reminders, either of the years of solitude she's endured, or of what I can look forward to in my own future. Both make me very certain of one thing. I'm glad that she's here with me. It's been days since Evelyn attacked Tara, since Geladora spoke to her. Days of fruitless searching for Maddie, and Tara still trying to act like she's okay. She pores over every piece of local history we can find. She makes jokes. She tells stories. She pretends she isn't losing hope every day we don't find Maddie. She's lying. It's her body that tells the truth. She pulls me closer when she's under me. She stays in my arms for longer than she did before. I doubt she even noticed she's doing it. But years spent hiding my emotions have made me pretty good at spotting it in someone else. Is she doing it for me? For herself? Both? That's the only thing I still don't know. Morgan? I can hear Tara's voice calling from the kitchen. I smell the smoke a second later. Uh-oh. I'm out of the bedroom before I realize I'm moving. My mind fills up with a million possibilities. What if Evelyn's already here? What if the cabin's burning? What if... I think I owe you a new pen. Oh, God. Tara's fidgeting nervously. A cloud of black smoke billows from the pan on the stove. I can't even tell what it was supposed to be in it. Whatever it was, it's charcoal now. What did you do, Tara? You guys don't have, like, a fire extinguisher in here, right? I let out a breath I was holding.
I shouldn't have panicked like that. I'm just glad she's okay. We don't need one. Let me see that. I walk past her and grab the pan. Before she can say anything, I open the door and toss whatever was in the pan into the snow. That's a pretty good fire extinguisher. I run a rag under the tap and toss it to her. Why don't you get the smoke off the wall before it stains? I'll take care of this. I'm still coming down from my adrenaline. I have to make a conscious effort to say it as gently as possible. I don't want her to think I'm mad at her. What happened? She seems happy being given something to do. She smiles and tries to salute, but with the wrong hand, and ends up slapping herself in the face with a wet rug. Tara, no! She's so clumsy. I swear she does stuff like that on purpose sometimes. While Tara scrambles to duty, I start washing out the charred remains, still clinging to the pan. After a few moments, Tara shuffles nervously behind me. You don't cook much, do you? Does not cooking at all fall under not cooking much? Because if so, yeah. Then why did you... Her eyes flick towards the counter, and I follow her gaze. There's a tray sitting there. It's a mess. A piece of clumsily sliced fruit. A cup of liquid. Blackened toast. You were making me breakfast. Tara looks guilty. Yeah, well, you know. She looks down and starts fidgeting with her shirt. I figured that since we're leaving the cabin, it'd be a waste to just leave it here, and I don't know, you've been really helpful and stuff. I thought maybe I could pay you back a bit, but I just wasted the food anyway. My mind reels. I can't utter a single sound. I don't really have any friends. The few people I'm on good terms with would never do anything like this. Evelyn stopped preparing meals for me the instant I could make them for myself. Jeez. And even when she did, they weren't much more than leftovers of what she made for herself. It was a dumb idea. Sorry. My body moves on its own, my arms outstretched and wrap around her. Before I know it, I'm reaching up to her face and pressing my lips against hers. The minute I actually process what I'm doing, I pull away and drop my arms to my sides. We both stand there awkwardly for a moment before I'm able to speak. Thank you. You're thanking me for screwing up making breakfast? I'm thanking you for trying. Oh, right. I guess that makes sense. I doubt someone like her would understand why this means so much to me. It's so sweet. She has good people in her life. Random acts of kindness must be commonplace for her. But for me, I've never been treated as anything but a tool. I've spent years turning the idea in my head, thinking that I deserved it. It was easy enough to believe. So this moment means more to me than I could possibly say. Even if I actually knew how to talk to people, I couldn't do it. The best I can do is try to repay it in kind. Maybe we could make something together. After all, your videos have taught me. I'd be happy to teach you a few things in return. Are you sure? I mean, I know literally nothing about cooking. All I do is slow you down. She's protesting, but the smile on her face makes it clear how much she really wants to do this. Seeing that grin in person is way more radiant than seeing it through a screen. That's okay. I'll take the lead, and we can go slow. I take her hand again. She squeezes it, and I squeeze back. Cute. Now, let's start with teaching you how to use a stove without burning the house down. That's probably a good one to know, yeah. I grab some sausages from the fridge and toss them in the now clean pan before putting it back on the stove. Okay, so you're gonna want this to have the heat a little lower than the absolute maximum for this one. I figured the higher it went, the faster it would cook. Technically, you're right. But that's also how you burn things beyond recognition. I moved behind her and put her hand on the panhandle, pressing against her back to move her hand side to side. Keeping it in motion is a good way to make sure it cooks evenly. Right, cool. I take her through the basics. She handles instructions surprisingly well. It helps that she's eager to learn. After the sausage, we move to toast, then coffee. She's sloppy, but she makes it work. You're doing great. I'm impressed. Well, doing with you is pretty effective motivator. Very subtle. When am I anything but? We finish up with the eggs, then sit down to eat. She powers through her meal, finishing before I'm even halfway through. Holy shit, that was so good. Looks like you're a better cook than you thought. Oh please, that was like 25% me at most. But thank you. I definitely learned enough to surprise Mads when she gets back. The mention of Maddie instantly sucks some of the joy from the room. Nice as this has been, I know it's only temporary shelter from the cloud still looming over our heads. Her smile doesn't falter at all, but I can see her eyes twitch slightly after she speaks. I wish I could think of something reassuring to say. I'd try just agreeing with her, but I know how hollow it would sound. But once again, she pushes it back inside. I know how that feels, although I have a much harder time smiling afterwards. And the best part is that we don't have to wash any of the dishes, since we're leaving after this. We're washing the dishes. Oh, come on. She reluctantly drags herself over to the sink. I remain seated and continue eating. A few seconds later, Tara reappears casually. Hey, quick question. It should be okay if we leave Maddie's stuff here, right? I'd hate for her to come back and be missing all her super important films. It should be fine. With us out of the way, Evelyn won't have any reason to focus on the cabin anymore. Hey, Morgan, can you come here for a sec? I jog down the hallway to find her staring at a hefty black bag sitting in the hall. What's that? It's Matt's camera equipment. I was just thinking that maybe we should shoot a video before we leave. Like, film an episode? Not quite. More like a summary of what's happened. For reference. Kind of like a black box in a plane. In case they don't make it. That way, if, Her voice trails off. She doesn't have to finish the sentence for me to know what she's saying. That way there'll be a record. Something that could help anyone else who decides to look into this. A dead drop. She flinches at the term. It's probably a bit too morbid for her liking. It's worth a shot. I can help you film it. Are you sure? That's a professional quality camera. Even I don't know how half the shit it does works. That's Maddie's domain. I'm sure I can figure something out. It can't be too hard to get the basics down. I grab the bag and sling it over my shoulder, then grab the tripod with my other hand. Alright, let's get to work. Okay, so... Oh, wait, hang on. I think I've got it. No, that's just gonna access the archive. We need to get the focus right for the main shoot. Things aren't going well. Neither of us can figure out how to work the camera. Oh, I don't know why I have a bad feeling about this, but I really do. My only contribution has been getting it on the tripod. Most of the terms Tara's using fly over my head. She claims that Maddie's the one who knows all about how to make it work, but even her limited understanding is worlds away from mine. I'm sorry, I wish I could do more. Don't sweat it, you're doing fine. Lie.
Maddie never taught me much. She, makes the videos. I just do the talking. Her voice is quiet. Maybe this was a bad idea. All it seems to be doing is making her miss Maddie even more. And I'm sure as hell not good enough to replace her. At least I finally managed to get the camera to a point where it's actually filming. Oh shit, you got it. She's humoring me. The picture isn't even close to being in focus, and somehow I managed to make the colors even more washed out than this place already is. It doesn't look anything like her most recent videos. I can do better. There are still settings I haven't tried. Tara claps me on the back. A bit too hard. She's so obvious. Don't worry about it. This stuff is confusing. Maybe the blur will make it look more mysterious or something. Sure. She leans against a tree in front of the camera. On her signal, I hit what I hope is record. I give a slight nod, and she's off. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a very special, not quite an episode of Paranormal. We've had a lot of crazy shit go down in the past couple weeks, so Morgan and I are putting this together to make sure we don't. Who's Morgan, you ask? She's our inside woman, as they say. We wouldn't have found any of the stuff I'm about to tell you if not for her, and she's been a hell of an assistant too. Matt would be manning the camera right now, but she's not here right now. It's complicated. Her voice dips for a moment before launching back to her professional cheeriness. So, where to begin? Well, I suppose I should start with a little story about a spirit, also known as the only time I've ever had fun in church. She launches into her story without having to make a single moment to think about it. I feel like I'm watching her transform in front of me. Her uncertainty is gone. Her anxiety is gone. That melancholy she'd had inside her since Maddie disappeared is gone. It's like she's glowing. I wish I could tell her how wonderful it is to see, but I know I'd never be able to say something like that. I hear her voice shake for a fraction of a second. She corrects it instantly, but I know I heard it. I'm not gonna lie, but there's some bad shit out here. Maddie got caught up in it somehow, but it's nothing that's gonna last. Am I in danger too? Sure, but that's nothing new for me. You're talking to a girl who nearly got eaten by a bear because park rangers suck at their jobs. I'm just making this so we don't have as much to go over when we find her. The dry air out here is killing my throat, so I could use the help. She coughs loudly. I'm not sure if it's real or just for emphasis. And Evelyn, if you find this, know that we're gonna make you pay for what you did. Her voice breaks again. This time it's unmistakable. Maybe this was a bad idea. She takes a moment before she starts talking again. Her voice is shaky. Her face is a strange expression I've never seen before. I'll do whatever I have to do, you know? If you're watching, I want you to know that. Can you just give me my friend back? Can you just do that now? I'll do anything, I swear. I don't care if we find any more evidence. I don't need anything else from this trip. I just want Maddie back. Tara, I'm so sorry. I can't watch this anymore. I leave the camera and run to her side. I throw my arms around her and I feel her body sinking into mine. I'm sorry, Tara. I'm so sorry. I wrap my arms tighter as I feel her legs give out. It's all I can do to keep her upright as she starts to sob into my shoulder. Unease settles in my chest. I've never had to do anything like this before. But I have to try. I have to do something. Oh fuck, we actually get a choice this time. I should let her mourn, or I have to keep her strong. I mean, oh god.
I don't know what mourning is gonna be like, but it's just like, if you're mourning, it's kind of a thing you do alone. I don't want Tara to feel alone right now. I want her to feel like she has someone by her side. So, I'm gonna keep her strong. I hold her up as best as I can. I can't just let her give in. Tara, listen. Sorry. She wipes away some of her tears. More keep coming. Yeah? We have to keep fighting. Whatever happened to Maddie, we'll make Evelyn pay for it. I promise. She nods weakly. Yeah, of course. We'll do it for Maddie. She sniffles some more, trying to force the tears back in. Oh, I hate it. I hate it. I can't help feeling guilty for encouraging her to stuff everything back down inside her. Oh, it's okay to cry though. Fuck. Did I make the right choice? But it won't be that way forever. Keeping so much pain inside, you can break you in ways that are impossible to fix. I won't let her be like me. You and I are gonna make it happen. Together. I worry that my words are making her angry. I don't want it to seem like I don't care about Maddie. But they seem to be helping. She's finally able to stand on her own. You're right. We got this. We'll make her pay. She pulls away, her body still shaking. It's the only way to make this right. That's the spirit. I make my way back over to the camera to start packing it up. I hope I made the right choice. I glance over at Tara while I do so. She seems to be doing better. Sometimes pushing everything back inside helps. For a moment anyway. We just need to stay focused on a goal. We don't talk on the ride back. Tara doesn't even fidget. It isn't until we stop in the village that she speaks. I hope you don't, madam, what? Excuse me. I hope you don't think I'm mad at you for bringing us out here. You aren't? Nah, I know you just wanted to make something good happen for all of us. Things just didn't work out that way is all. Besides, Her voice trails off into mumbles. After a moment, she takes a deep breath and restarts. Coming here meant I got to meet you. I'm sure as hell not complaining about that. I'm sure you've met plenty of fans in person. Yeah, but you're not just a fan. Not to me. You're a lot more than that. What are you saying? She suddenly looks away from me. I think she's trying to hide the fact that she's blushing poorly. I don't know. Just, I haven't ever really met anyone like you before is all. For a moment, strange thoughts fill my head. I want her to say more than that. I don't know what I want it to be, but I just want more. But I know better than to ask for that. If it helps, I haven't met anyone like you before either. Well, I could have told you that one. I am one of a kind, you know. Smooth. No argument there. I'm having a hard time looking at her. I don't know why. This is a new feeling. I push it away and reach for the carriage door instead. There's a weird air in the carriage now. Let's get inside. We've still got to figure out how much of your stuff we can fit in my closet. I mean, I could just leave some of my clothes on the floor. That's what I do at home. Not happening. I like being able to see my floor. Can't blame a girl for trying. I can't help but laughing. She laughs too. She's going to be okay. I know she will. And I'm going to make sure she stays that way. And then back to Maddie. I really like this perspective change. It tells the story much, much better. instead of having just a narrator going through everything. Plus, the story wouldn't have unfolded the way it did. By now, I've all but given up on being able to see Tara again, but I can't abandon the idea without at least trying to get through to her. She deserves to know that I'm okay. Or at least okay as I can be, given the circumstances. At first, Abigail was hesitant about interacting with other people. I don't blame her. After 2 centuries of solitude, talking to 3 complete strangers within the course of a few days would be a pretty jarring shift. Despite that, she understands how important this is to me. She also warned me that we can't venture too far in the village itself. The magic of the forest only extends so far, and there's no telling what would happen to us if we went past it. The border of magic isn't clear-cut, so she made me to promise to stay close to her. Just in case. I really am lucky to have someone as accommodating as her with me. Even if we fail, it means a lot that she's willing to try. I do fill her in on what to expect from Tara and Morgan's personalities, doing my best to be as charitable as I can when telling her how likely Tara is to completely flip out when she sees a ghost. Once she's fully prepared, we make our way to the cabin. Aren't they gone? It's empty. There's not a trace that anyone has been in here in days. All of Tara's things are gone. That's an instant relief. It seems like a planned exit. Did you find something, Madison? I can't help flinching as Abigail floats to the wall next to me. Incorporeality is one of those things I haven't been able to get used to. I think so. It seems like the 2 of them went back to the village. I don't even entertain the idea that she went home early or anything like that. It's not in her nature. Do you think so? That sounds like it would be dangerous. Why would they put themselves in danger like that? I have no idea. Hopefully we can have some ourselves. Abigail starts to back away, looking down at the ground. Madison, of course. I'll do my best to help you, but I feel like it would be remiss of me if I didn't warn you not to get your hopes up. It took me years to be able to manifest myself. The chances of you being able to communicate with them so soon are low. That's okay. I didn't have much hope to begin with. I don't like being this dour about things, but I don't see how else I'm supposed to feel. She looks stricken by my words, and I hastily try to gloss it over. I mean, hey, you never know. If you can do it, maybe I could come along with you. The 2 of us together are about to be able to accomplish more than we could on our own. Together. She looks down, grabbing handfuls of her gown. She agreed to come with me before, but it seems like she's having second thoughts. What's wrong? It's just that accompanying you would mean returning to Eysenfield again. I haven't returned since, well... Oh no. I'd never even thought to ask about that. I've tried to avoid talking about her death as much as possible. Strange as it sounds, it feels like it would be rude, in a way. Invasive. But I should have at least checked with her before suggesting we make our way there. I'm sorry, Abigail. I didn't mean to... To my surprise, she hurries back towards me and nearly bumps her head against mine as she closes the gap between us. You don't have to apologize, Madison. I agreed to help you, and I'm going to honor that commitment. Besides, maybe it could be good for me. I can't avoid going back there forever. I mean, it's been like 200 years. And having you there will make the burden of memory much easier to bear. Her conviction combined with her invasion of my personal space makes my face flush red, and for a moment it looks like she's worried if she upset me. I give her the best smile I can manage. After years of making paranormal, I'd hope maybe a bit of Tara's charm and social skills would have rubbed off on me. They haven't. If you say so. As long as you don't feel like I'm forcing you or anything. Not at all. You've been nothing but kind to me, Madison. I want to repay that kindness.
If anything, I still feel like I'm indebted to her for saving my life, but I know she wouldn't see it that way. I've done my best to be polite, but I haven't exactly made any grand gestures of thanks to her. Thank you, Abigail. Really. Of course. Now then, shall we? Lead the way. Oh. Every time Tara and I visited Eysenfield, we were stared at everywhere we went. Now seeing everyone walk by Abigail and me without so much of a glance is surreal. Abigail gazes at the buildings as we pass by, occasionally pointing out ones she remembers from her time. Her voice is a strange mix of excitement and melancholy. I'm not sure if I should encourage her mood or try to comfort her. As we enter the town square, we start to encounter larger groups of people. Each time one passes close by, Abigail grabs onto my arm and moves closer to me. Is she scared of crowds, or is it something about the villagers themselves that has her shaking? I mean, they're all under, like, a spell, right? I'm tempted to ask her, but I think better of it. For all I know, this fear could be connected to the way she died. My mind runs wild with possibilities. Maybe she was burned as a witch or cast out of the village. This definitely isn't helping. I need to focus. Thankfully, it's not too long before we reach Morgan's house. I just hope they're here. And more importantly, I hope we can reach them. Are you ready, Abigail? I'm ready. Let's go. We phase through the wall and into the kitchen. Wait, they can go through the drawing room. Holy shit. We can see all of Evelyn's secrets and communicate. And there they are. Tara and Morgan, sharing breakfast, close enough to touch. I give nearly anything to be able to hug them right now. My feelings are a mixture of guilt and elation, and worry. But more than anything, I'm glad she's okay, both her and Morgan. I need to talk to Tara. There's so much I need to say and ask. Tara, can you hear me? Morgan, this is delicious. How the hell do you know how to make all this stuff? Apparently she can't. She doesn't even look in my direction. Most of it I picked up from older folks in the village. The rest I pieced together from random cooking videos. When all is said and done, remind me to give those channels a shout out on an episode, cause this rules. I try waving my hands in front of their faces, hoping that maybe movement will convey what my voice clearly can't. Once again, no reaction. Morgan leads towards Tara, passing right through my hand. Maybe you'll learn enough while you're here to make a few cooking videos yourself. Are you asking because you actually think that'd be good? Or do you just want to see another video where I almost burn my house down? Another? Morgan shrugs and gives Tara a small smirk. When Tara chuckles in response, I feel another surge of sadness. I knew I shouldn't have expected this to work right away, but I'm still crestfallen. Having them this close hurts in a way I couldn't have imagined. All this time I spent feeling ignored while I was alive seems so trivial compared to this. Now you're literally invisible. So what's the plan for today? Got anywhere in town we might be able to hit up for local lore? Most of the official records of town history are sealed up in Evelyn's office, so those are off the table. But we might have some luck checking out older buildings around town. She's done a good job of cleaning up evidence of what Eysenfield used to be, but maybe you'll notice something I didn't. Sure, I mean, it's worth a shot. Her voice barely contains a trace of the fire I'm so used to. I have to hope that at least the remaining trace is a sign she'll regain the fire someday. At least she's not alone.
Morgan reaches out and puts her hand on Tara's shoulder, squeezing gently. When she speaks, her words are soft and strained. Are you going to be okay? What do you mean? After yesterday, if you need some time to rest, nobody's gonna blame you. Tara looks down for a moment, but when she looks up again, her eyes hold that same fire I saw so often back home. I'm good. The sooner we get some clues, the sooner we can end this shit for good. Are you sure? 100%. We got this. I feel that urge to hug her again, even stronger than I did before. They don't have a shred of evidence to suggest I'm anything other than dead and gone, but she hasn't given up. I still don't feel any kind of power within me that I could use to manifest myself. Abigail's my only hope. I turn to her, trying to keep my voice level despite my desperation. Abigail, do you think you could manifest? Even if I can't reach them, maybe you can. Abigail nods, but she's frowning. My heart wasn't exactly soaring, but I can feel it sink even further. I'll try, but whatever power I had that allowed me to appear to you has felt much weaker since I used it to save you. Abigail closes her eyes and starts to lift higher off the ground. As I watch, I feel a strange feeling in the air around me. As if it's bending around her, being pulled aside so she can step through the border between our worlds. For a minute, it seems like it's actually working. I'm trying to figure out what exactly I'm going to say when I feel the energy in the air start to fade. Abigail seems to be struggling, furrowing her brow as she sways in the air. Her face scrunches, and guilt stabs at me like a knife. Is she in pain? Abigail, stop. It's okay. Maybe if I just try a little harder. I reach out and gently take her hand, lowering her to the ground. She opens her eyes, breathing hard. As much as I want to see Tara, it's not worth making her feel like this. It's okay. I promise. We can try again some other time. Abigail gives a faint nod and stares down at her feet. Her hands ball into fists as her shoulders rise and fall. I'm so sorry, Madison. I don't understand why this is happening. There aren't any rulebooks for this sort of thing. I don't blame you for not knowing about things most people think are impossible to begin with. The disappointment I'm feeling takes a backseat to concern for Abigail's well-being. I already put her through a lot by making her come here in the first place. We knew beforehand that this was a long shot. I'm just happy I got to see them again. Are you sure? I'm not, but I know that if I tell her that she'll want to try again, it's better this way. I'm sure. You've done more than enough by coming with me. I look back to Tara and Morgan, taking what I pray isn't my final glance at them. To my surprise, Tara's leaning against Morgan's shoulder while Morgan's arm is wrapped around her back in a loose hug. Thank you. As much as messed up as this all is, I'm glad that you are the one helping me get through it. Tara's voice is soft, and it carries a vulnerability that I don't think I've ever heard from her before. Same here. We make a good team. Tara raises her head to look at Morgan, their faces inches apart. We should have a dream team name, like the Dream Team or something. We'll work on it. I already had a feeling that the two of them had something going on before all this happened. I'm not that surprised. If I'm being honest, stuff like this has happened before with her. But it's always a one-night stand or some kind of quick fling. Never the kind of thing that would merit real vulnerability. Then again, she's never been in a situation like this before. Maybe losing me brought out a part of her I never knew she had. As if in response to my thoughts, Morgan leads forward and kisses Tara. What is going on? It's a lot more than a simple peck on the lips. This is something deeper. So deep, in fact, that I have to turn away. It seems wrong to spy on something that's intimate. Next to me, Abigail has also turned away. Her face is a bright crimson, and her hands are close to her chest. I didn't stop to consider that this is the first act of intimacy she's seen in 2 centuries. For all I know, and this could be the first time she's ever seen 2 women kiss. You okay? She looks up at me, slightly alarmed. Yes, I'm okay. I just wasn't prepared for something like that. Trust me, I wasn't either. Abigail pauses for a moment, closing her eyes and taking a calming breath. It is nice though, isn't it? A love like that can give someone incredible strength. Yeah, I'm happy for them. I really am. Maybe this will help her cope better now that I'm gone. But we should probably go. I feel really weird for being here like this. Of course. Maybe we can try this again some other time. Her words lack conviction, but she doesn't protest. I'll have to think of some ways to cheer up once we get back to the church. Hey, do you want to maybe... Oh, fuck. The front door creaks open. All 4 of us freeze as we face the entrance. Evelyn stalks in and slams the door behind her. She doesn't say anything, but neither do Tara and Morgan. Tara's shaking and Morgan places a protective arm in front of her as she glares at her mother. I shiver too, desperately wanting to look away, but feeling unable to. A part of me screams to do something, anything to get her away from Morgan and Tara. Yet there's a stronger part of me, screaming, I need to leave, I need to get out of here. But I feel just as frozen as the day I died. I feel Abigail on my arm pulling me backwards. She pulls my body through the connecting wall, and only when Evelyn is out of my vision can I breathe again. Abigail presses against me, just as stunned as I am. I try to keep calm, telling myself that she doesn't even know we're here, that she can't hurt me anymore. Evelyn passes through the door and by the corner where Abigail and I are lurking, and she stops. Oh shit. Slowly, her head turns to look where we are, where there's otherwise just empty space. She's so close that I can see her face contort in recognition and shock. Madison! What? I jerk my head towards Abigail to see that she's already started to head for the wall, waving for me to follow her. It's enough to snap me out of my trance. I run to her, casting a backwards glance at Evelyn to make sure she isn't following us. She doesn't move, but her eyes track us as we run. Right before I pass through the wall, her mouth opens. How? I don't stick around to find out what she says next. Abigail and I run away as fast as we can, phasing through buildings and people with reckless abandon. After what we just saw, all of the fears feel inconsequential. Fuck. She can see us. And she looks scared. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't know. Maybe this could help. Probably. Damn. I feel so bad for Tara. And Jesus, Morgan has spent her entire life just being controlled by this thing. We're gonna make Evelyn pay though. Like, we're gonna get her back. And I think I'm gonna leave the stream early today, actually. I do have some homework. Some physics homework. God. I mean, I worked on a good chunk of it before this stream. But I really need to get on it, because I don't have much time before the next exam. But yeah, I am really glad to be playing this game, and I can't wait to see what happens next. This is kind of a cliffhanger, I guess. But you know me, I always end on cliffhangers. For the drama of it all. But yeah, thank you for watching. Good night, coffee. Thanks for watching, and I really hope you enjoyed. I'm really enjoying this, and can't wait to see this through, though.
we still are just on chapter 3, and I think there's 6 chapters. I can't believe... I can't believe any of this has happened. Like, this was the biggest turn. But yeah, what I'm thinking will happen is that, they'll be able to manifest in a way that Tara can see them. And hopefully help bring Evelyn down. But yeah, take care of yourselves. And I will see you next time. Good night.